task is going to be this one. Is Mac48 address? Okay, let's dive in. So, a media access control address, also known as a MAC address, is a unique identifier assigned to network interfaces for communications on the physical network segment. Obviously. The standard IEEE 802 format for printing Mac48 addresses in human-friendly form is 6 groups of 2 hexadecimal digits, 0 to 9 or A to F, separated by hyphens. Okay, so they're giving us a nice example. And our task is to check, our task is to check if the input string is a Mac48 address or not. So basically, does it match the format here? So they give us some examples. This one, yeah, looks like a Mac48 address, no problems. This one, it looks sort of like it fits the format, but there's a bit of a problem here, and it's the fact that we have a big old Z right here. It can't just be any letter. Specifically, it's A through F. Now, there is a reason for that. It's basically because these are hexadecimal numbers. So, okay, why hexadecimal and why 2 digits? Basically, it's because we're talking about something that's 8-bit, like anything from 0 to 255. That's basically the idea. And we're encoding that in hexadecimal because we basically have 16 different digits, so the maximum number we can get with 2 of these digits would be like 16 times 16, 256. So 0 to 255 are all the possibilities we can go through, basically. Okay, so, all right. We also have this example down here which says it's not a Mac48 address, and that's pretty clear. Okay, so, all right, I think it's pretty clear what we have to do here. I think what we'll do is we'll start with just a bit of a loop here. So we'll just go through all the characters, I guess. So we'll say something like for let I is assigned value 0, I is less than input string dot length I plus plus. And basically, well, okay, here's what we want to do. We want to say something like this. If, okay, hold on, let me back up a sec. Let's say constant character is assigned the value of input string at I. And then we want to say if character, okay, here's how we'll put this. We'll do something like this, right? I'm trying to think of how we're going to do all of these comparisons just using logic here. So, okay, basically this would imply that it's a digit, right? It's between 0 and 9. Yeah, I think that implies that it's a digit. And we'll say or capital A less than or equal to character, and character is less than or equal to capital F. Okay, so this one or this one. But then I'm actually going to put another set of parentheses around all of these because I want to say if that's not the case, because if we find that that character is not within the range we're looking for here, we're going to return false. Just break right out of the loop here and say, not going to fly. And then otherwise, if it makes it through all of that, we'll return true. Okay, so we could try that. But what we'll find is that that's going to fail pretty hard because we've got to consider these dashes here, right? The hyphens. So that's pretty important. Okay. So I guess, okay, not this. Or we could say character equals, or character, Okay, hold on a sec. I'll put it inside here. So either it's a digit, or it's between capital A and capital F, or it's a hyphen. Let's try that. We'll see if that works. And basically, that is still contained within the set of parentheses that we're putting this not in front of. Okay, so this is better. We're actually passing almost all of these now. The problem is this one right here. So we're saying true when really we should be saying false. There's an extra dash on the end of this one, which is really, we shouldn't be saying that this one's true. So the quickest way I can think of accommodating this, the simplest way, I would say, is probably just to say, like, how many characters should it be? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so I think it should be 17. So we could just say, instead of returning true, let's return input string.length is 17. Because then that should accommodate that other one. Great. Okay, so I like what I'm seeing with this, sort of, and I think we're ready to submit it. Let's take a look at what the hidden tests have to say. Ooh, okay, well, one of the hidden tests is not passing. So check it out. We've collected the majority of our score that we're looking for here, and I think that means if this wasn't the end of the module, we would be able to move on to the next task. But this is the last one within the eruption of light, so we can't quite reach the rainbow of clarity yet. Okay, so basically, let's try to think about what that one hidden test might be. And well, if you think about it, here, let's add a custom test here. We're just checking to see if we have digits and hyphens and if it's 17 characters long, right? So technically, we could just do something like, put some numbers in here, and I probably should have counted how many that is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. So we'd expect false, because that's clearly not the kind of thing we're looking for. But when we run the test on this, we find that it's giving us true, because it's not being very discerning about where these hyphens are actually happening. So let's get this out of here. Let's say, okay, forget about that. And let's see. Yeah, okay, great. Still, just wanted to make sure I still had the right amount of brackets there, parentheses. Okay, so really what we want to check is, well, okay, where should these things be occurring? Well, it's basically every third character, right? So 0, 1, 2, we've got a hyphen. 3, 4, 5, we've got a hyphen. 6, 7, 8, we've got a hyphen. So we've got 2, we've got 5, we've got 8. What these all have in common is the index would give a remainder of 2 if it was divided by 3. So 8 divided by 3 would give us 2 with a remainder of 2. 5 divided by 3 would give us 1 with a remainder of 2. 2 divided by 3 would give us 0 with a remainder of 2. So basically the idea is that we want to have a remainder of 2 when we divide the index by 3. So this, in other words, is what we're looking at. Okay, so if this is the case, then really what we should be looking for is if it's a hyphen. Else, if that's not the case, that's when we're going to check this stuff. Ooh, what's going on with that? Oh, it doesn't fit on the... Okay, here, we'll just make a bit of space. Okay, that's a little nicer. And then these guys need to... Yeah, okay. That's looking much better. Let's clean that up a little bit. And then here, this is where we want to check, well, if the character is not a hyphen, return false. Okay, cool. So is this better? Is this what we're looking for? It's passing all those tests. It's passing this test, so that's nice. Let's try submitting it. Ooh, okay, awesome. So now we are officially done the eruption of light. We could move on from here, but we're not gonna. And the reason is because, nice. 10,000 coins, you gotta like that. Okay, so the reason we're not gonna move on is because, or at least not yet, I have to say, like, all these nested ifs and stuff like that, like, it's getting kind of complicated. I'm getting overwhelmed actually just looking at all this stuff. So I'm thinking, is there a better way we could do it? So yeah, I think there is. First of all, I want to archive this before I forget. And then I'm actually just going to grab it again and put it right up here. Okay, cool. So what do we want to do differently this time? Well, the main thing I guess I have an issue with is this. To me, this is really, it's looking sloppy. You know, it's not looking great. So instead, I basically want to say, Well, okay. Let's back up a second. We're talking about strings here, right? We're talking about analyzing some properties of strings or finding some sort of pattern about a string. So it would make sense for us to use a regular expression. So we could just say something like, okay, we'll make a regular expression. We'll do dot test on our character. And it's looking like I'm just commenting this out, but really I just wanted to, build the frame for a regular expression to be built in. So here we go. Basically, it could be anything from 0 to 9 or from A to capital F. Let's see if that works. Oh, it doesn't. It's because that's the opposite of what I want. I'm saying return false if that's not the case. Okay, great. And now that means we can fit this over here too. So this is looking a bit nicer. That's nicer to look at, I would say. So, okay, great. It's an improvement. We're using regular expressions. We're finding that these can maybe set us free a little bit. But if we're going to be doing some regular expressions here, why don't we just jump right to the string itself? Let's not even do a loop. Let's not loop through it. Let's not look at one character at a time. Let's just do a regular expression, and that's it. Let's try that. So what are we going to use for our regular expression? Well, I mean, we've got part of it, right? We sort of want to have this 0 to 9, A to F. And keep in mind, the square brackets here, that just means these are our options. Anything inside of these, like anything within, any one thing that's inside this range here, it's going to match. Okay. So what do we want this to look like? Well, we want it to be basically 2 of these, exactly 2 of those. And then follow that with a hyphen. That's basically what we want, right? So let's see. Let's do a dot test on, not the input string yet. Let's just say, I don't know, A1 hyphen. Let's see if that matches. Oh, and yeah, we should probably return that. Okay, so let's run that. And yeah, it's saying true. Okay, great. Whereas if we said something like Z1, then it's going to say false. No, that's not matching. Or if we said like AA1 hyphen, then it shouldn't match anymore. Because, now it's not just 2 of these things followed by the hyphen. So we should find that now this one is going to give us a false. And it's sort of keeping us in suspense, so hopefully we'll find out soon. I'm sweating buckets over here, I have to say. While we wait for that, though, we might as well modify this, because I didn't mention it down here, but we don't have to do this as a 0 to 9. We have a built-in for that. We could just say /d, because, that means digit in regular expressions, right? Oh. Okay, little page refresh here. Okay, well, we'll give that a moment. Okay, it's doing something. Maybe I'll manually refresh the page, see if that does anything. All right, well, hey, while we wait, let's just go over here. Let's use our regular expressions 101 app to try to build this out. So I think what we had so far is something like this. We had digit or A through F, and there were 2 of those, followed by a hyphen. Okay, and you'll notice I'm using this escape character just so that it literally matches the hyphen. I don't know if hyphen actually means something special. No, I guess it doesn't, eh? So, okay, we could do 09 hyphen, and yeah, it matches. Okay, cool. And then what else we were looking at? We were looking at A1, and yeah, that matched. And then we tried something like AA1, and we find that it's not matching the whole thing, but it is matching this part. So because of that, yeah, there we go. Because of that, if we were to run this test, it would actually still say true. So that's not great. That's not exactly what we're looking for. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the caret symbol at the beginning to indicate the beginning of the string. And then we might as well, while we're here, we might as well put the money sign at the end to indicate the end of the string. Okay, so let's run that. And now this should give us false. Great. But if we were to take away that extra A, now it gives us true. Start of the string, two characters that are within this range, the hyphen, and I guess what we just learned is we don't need that, and also we can do this. So hopefully this should still give us true. Yeah, great. That's what we're looking for. Okay, and then we have the end of the string after the hyphen. So awesome. But really, we want more than that, right? So we don't just want one of these things. We want a whole bunch of them, like 6 of them, or at least 5 of them. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm putting these in, currently this is a capture group because we're using parentheses, so we're capturing everything in here. But I don't intend to use this for anything. It's not like we're trying to find the matches and then do stuff with it. It's just that we want to represent this as one whole unit so that we can do something like this, right? Say 5 of these things. So since we don't want a capture group, we'll use a non-capturing group. So basically, instead of just opening up with a parenthesis, we basically make this weird looking emoji here. It's like a smiling guy with a question mark nose. Anyway, the point is, that means it's a non-capturing group. So, okay, maybe this is a better way to sort of demonstrate that. It's getting kind of long, so I'll just take this and copy it, paste it in over here. So, there we go. Non-capturing group. So basically it's just taking the stuff in here, anything from 0 to 9, A to F, 2 of those, and then a hyphen. So, okay, and we want 5 of those. So we got like A1, 7B, 99, 4, E, and 3, 5, and then hyphen. Okay, great. So that's matching. But then that's not it for the MAC address. We might also have, well, we will also have 2 other characters at the end there. So after that, or actually after all of that, but before the money sign for the end of the string, we basically just want to have another one of these where we say, okay, digit or A through F times 2. Okay, and now it's matching our whole thing here. It's matching our MAC address, which is awesome. So, okay, let's put this back in here. And we're not going to test it with that anymore. We're going to test it with our input string. Let's run that and see what happens. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's passing all of those. I'm assuming it'll pass the hidden test as well, but we might as well find out just because there was that one exception that we found before. So, great. Yeah, that's passing all of them. Nice. But here's the thing. There's something I don't like about this regexp. It's the fact that we're repeating ourselves just a little. So this thing over here, it appears here, it appears over here. I would prefer not to see that twice. But the thing is, like we kind of need it, right? Because there isn't a hyphen on the end of this thing. Like if we made this a 6, now it's not going to match. And we go back over here and do the same thing, get rid of this, turn that into a 6. And now it's not matching because it's looking for 6 of these things in the non-capturing group, which is basically like one of those or one of those. Like a whole unit here has 2 hexadecimal digits followed by a hyphen. So that's why it's not matching, because there's not a hyphen on the end. But, I mean, if there was a hyphen on the end, it would match. So let's put one there. Might as well, right? Just concatenate it onto the end, and it works. It allows us to use a much nicer regular expression. I like that a lot better. And that means, we don't have to do any of this loop stuff. We don't have to check the length of the string, mainly because we have this character here and this character here, right? If we didn't have those, then, yeah, they might put some extra stuff at the end or something like that. So, okay, I think this is, that's pretty good. I think that's a pretty nice improvement over this. In terms of which one's more clear, I mean, I guess that really depends on how familiar you are with regular expressions. And I have to say, like, regular expressions were one of the things that I felt a lot of anxiety about up until, like, pretty recently, like maybe embarrassingly recently. The thing is, it was the sort of thing where I always just sort of shied away from it. I'd see these regexps and I'd be like, ugh, like, look at this thing. That's a bit hard to deconstruct, to like try to reverse engineer one of these things can be nightmarish, especially if you're not too familiar with them. So It took me a while to actually sort of give them a chance to actually get into them, but I have to say, after spending the time, after going through the chapter in eloquent JavaScript, after just messing around with some regexps 101 kind of stuff, I mean, for me anyway, I really started to embrace these things, and I mean, you can see why, right? I mean, look at how efficient that is. And by the way, if you're into like the what do they call them? Like the code golfing challenges here, like the shortest character challenges, like the challenge of the day. These are really useful because, I mean, look, if we're trying to save bytes, we're saving a lot of bytes going from here to here. So, my mistake. Almost forgot. Okay, there we go. So, is it official? Let's see. It's official. Okay, great. So, nice job on that one, everyone. Let's get out of here. Okay, so we've completed the eruption.